The film we're watching tonight, Julie Taymor's Frida, is of course about the life of an artist. An artist. Well, you see, for most people, artists are very strange people. They don't know any. They haven't never been to an artist studio. They are puzzled a little bit about why art is so important or should be in their lives. Of course, that's what we're all about at Art and Film. We're trying to introduce you to all of these ideas and all of these incidents, the classic films, art galleries, the museums, etc. But that's really not most people don't have that type of experience. And so they view artists very, very, either they think they're, marvelous, they love their works, etc., but they're still very strange people. And I would agree. Artists are often more neurotic than other people. They are basically more nonconformist. They don't really go, we always say, marching to a different drummer. Many of them do. And so it's very difficult for people that don't have that association or haven't really dealt with artists to even remotely understand them as people. Secondly, many, many artists are very difficult. They are complex and difficult people, and many of the things that they do are highly reprehensible in a sort of popular sense. They are, you may say that they are monsters sometimes, and sometimes these people that are monsters have produced extraordinarily beautiful work. So that I think one of the things we have in our popular culture now is a need to really disassociate the artists from their lives often. It isn't always the same. So now we're going to be dealing with a Mexican artist named Frida Kahlo, who has become probably one of the most recognized and famous artists in the world. Her image is on everything. It's on, everything you can mention, on beaded curtains and on houseware and on dishes and anywhere you will see the image of Frida Kahlo. And why? When she was alive, this was not the case at all. When she was alive, she was the wife of a more famous artist named Diego Rivera. And because they lived somewhat sensational lives and they traveled so much, she became known in a very small category of people that actually were famous and new artists, etc. It has a lot to do with also that Diego Rivera was accepted and actually courted by a lot of very rich people in America, including Henry Ford and people like that. So the Rockefellers. So in those circles, she was known, and she had maybe even about 3 or 4 exhibits that certainly let people in Paris and in America know about her. But that was it. When she died, she was relatively unknown. So it starts in the 70s. In the 70s, all of a sudden, she became sort of discovered again. She had a wonderful biography written about her. And all of a sudden, a lot of movements began to understand that she could be used as a sort of icon, a symbol. And these were sort of a lot of the feminist movement, for example, the gay movement that happened in the late 60s. And she also was a symbol of sort of the people that had been disfranchised, somebody that basically was not given any worth that had great worth. So her image began to flourish. Her art began more and more, to appear in more places, and she became I consider it a sort of victim of something called Frida mania that swept over the 80s and the 90s. She is the most, she's sort of now seen everywhere, the Che Guevara and Bob Marley, people that have their images, known. And it's a bit different because with Vincent van Gogh, for example, who she shares many, many affinities with, um, he's known for his painting. She's known for her image, which is she basically spent a great deal of her time painting her own image. So now we get to a autobiographical film about her. And of course, it's going to have half real things and half part of this legend and icon that she's become since then. Now, a lot of things are also reasons for that. She dressed very much like somebody from folk art. Her art was basically, she embraced folk art in her style. And so that already is a stunning and very separate look. When she appeared in New York, she insisted on wearing her native clothes and the native costumes that she had inherited from all of her work and what she loved about Mexico. So you're going to have those two things. It's also very hard for people because, of course, the Diegos were outrageously unfaithful. She went through incredible amount of lovers, both men and women. Her husband did as well. I would like to say that a lot of people that have a lot of energy, artists that have boundless energy and are highly productive, they have very strong libidos, and they often have many lovers and many relationships with a lot of different people. You can point to Picasso as one of the main adherents of this. So that's another way that it's uncomfortable often for people that want to actually deify somebody to have these uncomfortable things about her. However, she had polio when she was a child, so she starts out being almost physically doomed, and she has an accident in her teenage years that renders her absolutely, immobile for much of her life. And it's the fact that she was able to survive all that gives her the status of an icon who, despite enormous suffering, managed to prevail. And I think that that's something we'll think about when you look at the incidents in this film. As far as Julie Taymor is concerned, she is a theater director who basically is one of the most sort of influential in the entire world. She designed and directed the production of The Lion King on Broadway. And when I say that, it is, you say, oh, well, I've heard of that, or I've seen it, that's great, it's a great musical. But you have no idea the impact that this work has had on the entire world. It has been seen by over 100 million people. It has productions in it's had 100 productions in 28 countries that have run years and years, every continent except Antarctica. So you go, this is a fairly large, influential work in which many, many people are familiar with. Frida is her fourth film, so she had already made 3 films before Frida, but it is certainly her most popular and the one that most people remember her for. So we will talk about the style of the film, which also echoes a bit the nonconformist ideas about Frida and Diego. And so that will be fascinating to hear what you think about all this. We'll see you after the film.